It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the UNCW women's basketball head coach, Karen Barefoot. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be on your show.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in your coaching career?
When I was playing in college, I had an awesome coach. But I would say probably when I was 6 years old, and I had to play with guys my whole life. There was two guys that picked me up to be the only girl on the guys team. And I just felt like I just had so much admiration for coaching. I mean, the way that they just had believed in me and trusted me. And they even today follow me around in my coaching career. And they've coached me when I was 6 years old, which is a lot of years. Okay. And I was always a born leader. I was a person that wasn't afraid to lead. And I just knew I was going to get in coaching some way, somehow, if I wasn't playing professional. It's my passion. It's what I love to do.
That's so amazing. What were your stops along your ways to get you to UNCW?
Yeah. So in 1994, I was the first player to score 2,000 points, 1,000 assists, male or female. From that point on, I got a lot of recognition across the country. And one of them was an athletic director down the road where I played in Virginia, reached out to me and said, hey, I know you're kind of a celebrity in the area and you just finished, and I know you don't have any coaching experience, but we would love for you to start a first ever women's program at the Apprentice School, which is like a military school in Newport News, Virginia, Newport News Shipbuilding, the Apprentice School, and where your father went, your grandfather went, and see if, you can get a women's team and just start it from scratch. And so I did that and became very successful. And from that end, I was married to the game for sure. I just was like, this is my call.
What was it like to, of course, work at the school that your father and your grandfather went to, Apprentice School?
Oh my God, chill bumps. I mean, the fact that my family went through there and, I wanted to start a first women's program there because there was just so much history within my family. I mean, I was a fifth generation from, being associated with Newport News Shipbuilding and the Apprentice School that I just couldn't let them down. And I was so blessed to be able to lead that program and win their first ever national championship in 2001. So I was so excited, 2000. It was just such a great experience. And I just, I knew it was my call.
What was that 2001 season like when you won the championship?
Unbelievable. I mean, it was like all the hard work and everything that you put into the game and doing it the right way and building it from the ground up, having 6 winning seasons, and then you end up going 3 Final Fours and, had All-Americans, and people were just knocking on our door wanting to come to the Apprentice School. And you could just see the program just building all the way to the top. And it was just a matter of time where we knew we were going to make history. And that year was like no other. I mean, we broke so many records, but it was like they really bought in to the vision, and it was so beautiful to see because you could see everything come together. I can remember that game when we won, and we won pretty big, going, wow, this is such a dream come true. And it just shows that, women can work in that kind of field and, get up every morning and, prepare and do something that no one's ever done before. So it was just so exciting.
What was it like leaving your mark at the Apprentice School, winning a championship after, of course, your father and your grandfather was there?
It was like, honestly, I could have been there for a long time. It was one of those things where I enjoyed what I was doing, and I was teaching and reaching and, trying to everybody says make an impact. I always say I want to make footprints because my last name is Barefoot. I want to put footprints in my student athletes' lives and wherever I'm at. And I didn't know my next call would be Lenior Rhyne, which they had never won a championship. So it's kind of one of those things where, my call was going there next after the apprentice school. Cause I mean, I'm always happy every day where I'm at. I love what I do and I don't look too far. I just kind of stay in the moment and, give everything I have.
What was it like transitioning over to the apprentice school to Lenior Rhyne?
Well, I've never left Virginia. So, I mean, and I'm a family girl. And I have a twin sister, complete opposites, she's hairdresser, all that kind of stuff. She played Barbies growing up and I'm like basketball. And, I'm really close to my family. So for me to be able to leave Virginia, the state of Virginia, and go to North Carolina was, it was hard for me at first because I've never been out of the state. And so it was a great opportunity and a challenge at the same time. And it was a great experience. And again, going to Lenior Rhyne and building that program, they had already been established, unlike Apprentice School that had no program. They had been established, but they never had one before. So building that program the kind of the same way with that kind of, hard hat mentality, and just going there, roll the sleeves up, get after it, work hard. I always say that, my program, we're going to lead the nation in high fives and floor burns, two things that don't show up in the stat sheet. So we did it that way, high five and high energy, and the floor burns, we're going to go after every rebound, get after it, every loose ball, play harder than everybody else. And I just brought that mentality to Lenior Rhyne, and we ended up winning the first ever championship back to back. And it was incredible.
What were some of the accomplishments, of course, after winning the championship back to back, did you have at Lenior Rhyne?
Well, Maya Grady ended up being the player of the year there. And I had a girl named Crystal Clary, who was an All-American, and they're both in the Hall of Fame today there in that program, which says a lot. I was coach of the year, first ever coach of the year there, back-to-back championships. And it was just they just believed, you ever have a group that comes together and no matter what people say that you can't do it. My favorite quote is, whether you think you can or can't, you're right. And it's true, just kind of getting them to believe that they can. So I think that we broke a lot of records, but more importantly, we became a family and built a winning tradition there, something that I feel proud of. And they were the Lady Bears. So I love Barefoot, my last name. I'm always like to tie things in, but it's a special place for me always.
What was the transition like from going from Lenior Rhyne to Elon?
Well,
Elon.
Yep. Elon is a special place. Again, same thing. They had never really won before. Dave Blank is an athletic director that I really admired there. And he was a basketball coach before he came to Elon. And he was a tremendous leader. So I knew I was going to, do great things under his leadership because he knew that, it would take patience to do that. And I never forget, he gave me a button that said, G something anyway. And I said, what does that mean, Dave? He goes, everything's going to be all right. Understand something. You're going to have losing season. You might have a losing season. You're going to build this program, but I'm right behind you. So long story short, I did. I took every day and I kept building it. And like I did at Apprentice School, Lenior Rhyne, just kept having that same mentality, high fives, floor burns, do it the right way, hire great staff. And I left there and we had the first ever 20 win season in school history and went to postseason play for the first time. And that was incredible to be able to be invited to postseason, the WBI Women's Basketball Invitational. I never forget like sitting in one of their restaurants and I'm looking around at everybody going, this is incredible. The way that we got fan support, the way that we did it the right way, the way those girls believed in each other was just something fun to see.
What was the transition like from going from being a head coach at Elon to going to Old Dominion, where you were the assistant coach?
Well, I got to work for the legend, Wendy Larry. So that was incredible because I always knew that Wendy Larry won the most championships that back to back that anybody has ever had, ever. And even today, 17 championships back to back in the Colonial. That's pretty impressive. And I got to be a part of 15, 16, and 17. So I got to learn from the GOAT, the greatest ever to me. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how to put together a non-conference schedule to get your team ready for a high level conference schedule. And so that was very exciting to again, go back to Virginia and be able to be in front of large crowds, and, a historical program. So incredible experience, learned a lot, and learned that, I kept falling in love with this game more and more and more every day. This is when I thought I loved that game, when I made my first basket at 6 years old. I mean, I just was like, this game has given me so much, I have to give it back that much more.
What were some of the things that you learned to help you to where you are now as the head coach at UNCW?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've learned a lot. Along my journey. Of course, it's never been easy. And I think that for me, I'm a very positive, passionate person. And I always have a good outlook on life. I do love challenges. But I realize you win in life with people. Relationships matter, and for me, it's all about, family first, like those girls are sisters for life. They're going to be in each other's weddings. They're going to be there. And I try to make them understand how important it is to get to know one another, to accept each other's differences. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, and to be able to come together for one common goal. And so that takes team building, team bonding, and it takes a staff that, can help, make everybody understand their, strengths and weaknesses. And I think that throughout my whole journey in life, I realize everybody's important. I mean, even the person that comes in every day to clean the locker room, every manager is important. Every fan is important. Every student is important. Like if you want to do, big time things, you do it with people. And I think that's the fun part for me, is the fact that, it's not just about our team. It's about having a winning culture, create a winning culture with people, like, students, faculty, professors, alums. It takes everybody to do something big.
Of course, what was it like going from Old Dominion, where obviously that's where you're from, versus going all the way back to North Carolina to Wilmington?
Well, when I left there, and again, I ended up being a head coach at Old Dominion and going to postseason play several times. I was so like, again, I just love the fact that we did some special things, but I felt like my call in life was to build this program here at Wilmington. And my name is on the floor, on the practice floor at ODU. So when I left there, and I'll never forget the last day I left there, because that was a special place for me, and I saw my name down there with some pretty powerful leaders. I said to myself, this program's in great shape. It's time for me to come here and build something. Now, here's what people don't know and they forget. My father and uncle, who all went through the Apprentice School, they're from Wilmington. So even though I'm a Virginia girl, they're from Wilmington. Their first steps were Riceville Beach. So that's the special place that I have in my heart for Wilmington. So even though I was born in, I'm from Virginia, the UNCW and here is in the Wilmington area. That's where the Barefoot side, that's where they are from here, this area. So there's nothing more that I want to do than to put their first ever NCAA banner up. And so that's the quest. That's what I'm trying to do every single day. I don't sleep too much because I get so excited every day to try to outwork people, but that's the goal here.
That's so amazing. Of course, speaking about having your name on the court, what was that feeling like whenever you got that honor of having your name on the court for Old Dominion?
Well, you leave a legacy and you try to like do it the right way. And that's something that I can go back to and just be able to be, in that category with so many great coaches, the men's side and the women's side. And I think that the end of the day, the greatest thing for me is to know that I graduate my players. I want to do it the right way. I want to feel like I gave them the tools to be successful in life. And I want them to go across that stage and give their gift back and me feel like I helped them overcome a lot, because it's not easy. When you go to college, you have to, you got to prepare yourself. You got to go to class. You got to study hall. You got to practice. There's a lot of things that you have. And so for me, I want to be that coach that says, I'm not just Coach Barefoot, I'm Mama Barefoot. Mama, when their mom is not here anymore, that I've got to get them adjusted to college. And at the same time, I got to push them to be the best player. And also I got to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do in the classroom. And I take pride in those things. I take pride in saying A before B, academics before basketball, making sure that they understand the reason why they're here. I'm big on why, the reason why they're here and what their why is, why they're going to college. So yeah, I got the best profession in the world. I think I get a chance to help people and serve others.
Can you talk about, of course, the winning culture that you have helped build at UNCW?
Yeah. So when I first came here, it's just getting them to buy in. And my first practice, I went out there. It was pretty rough. Okay. They didn't go as hard as I wanted them to go, but you're trying to build a winning culture here. And so I had to evaluate the team. And when I came back to my office and I sat down with my staff and they said, all right, what do you think? And I said, well, I want to build it around that number 15 because she goes through every sprint. She goes after every rebound. She's high-fiving. She's on the floor. And when we were in that meeting, we had our trainer, everybody, coaching staff. One of my trainers said, Coach, do you know number 15 is a walk-on? And I said, I don't care. She's the hardest worker out here. And come to find out, that was Lacey Suggs, who ended up leaving an incredible legacy here at UNCW, graduated, year before. And she was a scholar athlete, all conference, everything. But those kind of players, that's how you build it with. You build it with high energy, high motor, people that will just, come together and say, Coach, you tell me what I want, I got to do. Do I take a charge? I got to do whatever. I'll do whatever for my team to win. So selfless. So that's how you build a winning culture is, you focus on your standards. You have to have high standards. You have to make sure I always say teal collar, and that's just having that outwork mentality, teal collar, outwork everybody every day on and off the floor. And that's kind of how you build something special.
Can you talk about, of course, what the moment was like coaching in the Coliseum?
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you this. The fans here are absolutely incredible. When I'm on that sideline and we've been top 2 to 3 in attendance every year, which is a big deal that people are coming and supporting us. It echoes in there. It echoes, and Trask Coliseum is one of the greatest places to play. So it's very hard for our opponent to come in and even get a one word in because it is so loud, and the excitement that they bring and everybody brings is incredible. And I really don't have to say too much to the officials because they say it for me. So we definitely have great fan support here, and it's just great energy. And what Jimmy Bass and everybody has done here to build something special is great.
Can you talk about, of course, building back the winning culture that was at UNCW before you were there?
Yeah. So just, every day, honestly, just to be able to come in and our staff, we have a vision of how we want to play and how we want to do things. So the little things are the big things. The little things are the big things. How hard we go, how we have to out talk everybody. Our communication has got to be louder than everybody. And we practice those things. We practice having early communication. We call it ELO, early, loud, and often. And it's just problem solving. Basketball's about problem solving on both ends, offense and defense. If you're on defense, blah, 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 help side, screen coming, everybody working together for a common goal to do the best they can to not let your team score. And offensively, being able to really work together and make great decisions and get the best shot possible. And so you got to be able to communicate, and you got to be able to, make sure that you're picking everybody up when there's not so good possessions. And so you have to become that team that's a family. And so I feel like, that's what we try to do every day within our culture. We really track the little things, and we reward a practice player of the day all the time. And we always say, do your job, but you can also be a practice player of the day if you do something special. Like if you get more rebounds, or if you get charges, or if you have good energy, or you make a big play, that, so that's the kind of culture we have. Someone who does something extra that stands out. And so, they're catching on, and I know COVID's kind of set us back a little bit, but we're looking forward to getting back to our winning ways this year.
Of course, what is the recruitment process like for prospective student athletes looking to play for, of course, the Lady Seahawks?
Yeah, so you got to be able to have connections. I think that that's very important. We have a recruiting coordinator. Her name is Asia Williams. She's been very successful at other programs like Charleston, UNCG, Western Carolina. She's done a really good job. So we hired her. And so what she does is she has this big old plan for all of us. And she designates certain areas. So I have 3 assistant coaches. And so they have certain areas that they'll focus on. And of course, I'm in the discussions and I have to make sure that I'm very involved in our top S1s. S1 means Seahawk 1, top 1. Okay. So I have my list of players I have to call. And then I have some players, some prospects that are I can't call because of eligibility, because you can't call them because of certain NCAA rules, but I'm calling their coaches. So every week we're on the phone talking to certain, players based upon where it's at in the eval period, or we're in a contact period, what are we in? But we're pretty organized. And we like to say that we recruit 2 years out. So as soon as I got here, it was kind of making sure that we bring everything together. And I was lucky enough to bring some transfers in, but at the same time, we had some good freshmen. And then we just kept every year just trying to build our recruiting database up. And so building connections, I think North Carolina has some really good players. But when I first got here, I felt like we were behind. So we had to play catch up a little bit, building the relationships back, talking about the style of play, what we're trying to do here, how awesome academics are here, because we're one of the best, not even in North Carolina, but in the country. This is one of the best academic schools that I have been associated with. The people here is amazing. We don't have football, but it's great because, basketball and you got baseball, there's, you get attention here, and the fans here are amazing. They love coming to supporting all our athletic programs. And of course you got the beaches. So who doesn't like the beach, right? So, I mean, there's so many pluses, but you try to get that into the recruiting plan. And I think that we try to get as many people to visit this campus, because once they visit this campus, they're excited. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So getting them here on campus is a big deal in our recruiting philosophy.
Of course, speaking about getting them on campus, what is that official visit like?
Yeah, so you have official visits and you have unofficial visits. So depending on what year they are, if they're rising seniors and they're setting up their official visits, that's kind of fun because, we try to plan a 48-hour period where they can spend time with us, meet our players. We'll take them to some restaurants. We'll do a campus tour. They'll go into the media room and get a chance to put on some UNCW gear and take some pictures and things like that. And it's always fun. The official visit is an incredible time because they only get to take 5. So that, you want to make sure that, they pick the ones that they want to go to. So, and for us, we're always going to have our top S1s. We're staying on top of them of who we want first. And we give them the first opportunity to come here.
Of course, what is it like to have them try on the teal jerseys and be like, oh, okay, this is like home. I'm right near the beach and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, look at teal. Teal's everywhere. We bleed teal around here. I mean, the color is beautiful, and so is the ocean when you go see it. So I think teal is a great color, but we have a lot of different uniforms, that we do have with the teal and the white, home and stuff like that. They get excited. Honestly, they put it on and they can actually visualize themselves possibly being here. And then they go in there in the media room, take some pictures and things like that, and get a chance to maybe feel like, man, this could be me one day. And so that's always fun. And their parents love it. Every time when they come here and they have parents or their coach or whoever it is, it's just like a proud moment.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
Well, yeah, we're very excited to try to get back to a normal routine. We missed the last couple of years of because of COVID, getting out on the summer recruiting trail. This past year, we finally got back to doing that, had a good summer, July recruiting, got out there. Our staff went out there, which was great. Our players got a chance to come to summer school session 2 and work out with us also. And so they got a chance to work out and get ready for preseason coming up in August. So we're back on a routine, which I'm so excited, and I'm excited for them too. And then, coming up in October, I mean, it's that kind of like when it goes the full swing of things, like October 15th is going to be an incredible day with Midnight Madness. Oh my gosh, one of the greatest times I've ever had in any school I've ever been. They do it right here. they do it right here. And that's just so fun that students come, and, that'll be out released pretty soon. And then hopefully, we get into November where we have our game start. So November is kind of like that feel of it's finally here. So we got preseason, and then we have a fall break. We'll take advantage of having a couple practices through those days. And then just getting ready. We have some exciting games this year. We play 2 Power 5 teams we're excited about. We feel like we got a great non-conference schedule that we're getting ready to release, and hopefully get it out there to all our fans and alums and community and students. And we want to pack the trash. We want to make sure that, we continue that attendance, which is very hard for our opponent to come here and play against.
Of course, with that being said, how important is it to, once this season comes back and stuff, have those fans come back into the track as they weren't in there last year?
They make a huge difference. I mean, for me, their energy drives me. And I think for our team, of course, confidence is big. So, this right here, I don't know if you can see this in the back. It says 13 wins at Trask. Okay. So that's the most ever home wins that we've had school history in Division I era, so I take pride in winning that many games in Trask in one single year. So we want to get back to where, we fill that place and it's hard to play in. And we started getting top mid-major votes, top 25. We want to get back to those statistics where we're getting our name out there, top mid-major program in the country. Trask is the toughest place to play, hopefully one day getting our, maybe a top 25 vote. I mean, one day, you never know, that's why you want to put together a tough non-conference schedule. And we're very excited about all the new players that we have coming in this year. We have a lot of new faces.
That's so amazing. Of course, what advice would you give future prospects looking to play college women's basketball?
I think that it's very important that you do your homework. And I think it's very important that you don't just look at the basketball piece, look at academic, what they're focused on, like what their interests are. And, I always say, you want to check all the boxes. You want to make sure that, it's a good fit. It's a good environment. It's the style of play. Does it fit that person's style of play? Is it a family atmosphere? What is the community? Do the fans come to the games? I think that's a big deal. And so, you got to do your homework early. You got to come on. I think people now student athletes are really getting out there making unofficial visits and not just waiting till their senior year to make official visits. So whenever you get a chance, you can make an unofficial visit anytime. I think that's a big deal because it gives them an idea. It gives them a good feel. And then they start putting down their list. Oh, okay. Writing it down. And they could start doing that as early as 9th grade, getting an idea and, coming on campus, because you can come and make it an official anytime other than a dead period or July. I mean, that's just the rule. So I think people should take advantage of that, especially if basketball is something that they want to do.
That's wonderful advice. What advice would you give upcoming future college coaches looking to get into the industry of coaching college women's basketball?
I just got invited to be one of the keynote speakers for the NCAA Emerging Leaders. And, I just love hungry coaches, people that really want to get out there to make a difference. Because in the day, it's all about the student athletes. It's all about impacting them. And so my biggest advice would be to reach out and network, and to make sure we have a free coaches clinic coming up in October 2nd, 3rd, that weekend, open practice, and not be afraid to reach out and ask questions. I know when I was young and I didn't have experience, I reached out to Pat Summitt. Who would have thought she reached back out to me, Pat Summitt. That's pretty incredible. But I was just trying to get advice from a lot of people. And so I think that the more that you network and the more that you get on the phone and talk to some coaches that have been around and know, what it takes and what level, because all levels are great. Division I, II, and III. There's all kind of levels. And what their interest, what do they want to do? They want to be an assistant. They want to be a head coach. Just take advantage of opportunities and network. Get out there and meet some people. Go to some free coaches clinics. Don't be afraid to ask for help and to do it the right way. I think that's important. I know that Boo Williams was my AU coach back in the day. And the one thing that he always said, I always want you to go out there because I know you're crazy about basketball and you want to teach life lessons through that orange ball. but make sure that you do it the right way. Make sure that you know, at the end of the day, you're making a difference in those student athletes' lives. And I say leave footprints. And so that's all I'm trying to do every day.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the UNC women's basketball program at?
Yeah, so we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on everything. I mean, and so for me, my handle is UNCW Barefoot. And I'm on everything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And of course, you know, UNCW is UNCW Women's Hoops. So you can follow us. And if anybody's like wants to know anything about basketball coaching or how it works, anybody can always reach out to me, and I'll try to get back with them if I can. It depends if it's an athlete and they're young, then I have to make sure I go through their coach, but I will do anything to help anybody. I was once that kid that fell in love with that orange ball, and I was just like, man, so many people help me out. I want to help everybody else if I can.
That's wonderful. Thank you again, Coach Karen Barefoot, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the UNCW women's basketball program.
Wings up.
You can subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Karen, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you, Brandon. See you at a game.
Will do.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.